We're so glad that you're here with us today. Happy Tuesday. Hope you're staying warm. If you're in Georgia, we have a little bit of a threat of inclement weather, ice, and if you're from the South, you know how things can go for us. But uh, welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us on behalf of the Emory Alzheimer's Disease Research Center. I want to welcome you and thank you for joining us. Every week at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, we like to share updates with you on behalf of our research center. Our ultimate goal is to find a cure for memory impairment. And right now we have over 40 research projects that we are collaborating with colleagues all around the globe. And so every week we feature our faculty and staff. And so today I want to welcome you and thank you for joining us. Since March of 2020, we have been hosting these weekly 1-hour programs, and we pack a lot of information in a short amount of time. So if this is your first time joining us, again, thanks for being here. I hope you had a chance to participate in the poll. You can also post your questions in the chat function or the Q&A. So a little bit of housekeeping. We begin every week with an exercise demonstration. And you want to know why? Because we say what's good for your heart is good for your brain. And so we want to give you, keep you active, keep your hope up, keep your energy up. So we begin with an exercise demonstration provided by John Lewis. And so his energy is contagious. He is an awesome individual that gets us pumping. So John, tell us what we're going to need while we begin with our housekeeping. Do you just need a sturdy chair today or what?
Today, only thing you need is a sturdy chair and water bottles.
All right, so everyone go grab your sturdy chair and your water bottles. I am going to give you just a few more minutes of housekeeping while you grab those items. Again, you need a sturdy chair and some water bottles, okay? So we're gonna open up with John with exercise, and then Dr. Monica Parker is gonna come on. She's the director of our Minority Engagement Core with the Alzheimer's Disease Research Center. She's gonna talk about our mission, and then she's gonna introduce our esteemed guest today. So Carlissa Carson is with Emory Law School, and she's gonna be talking about a program that they're offering to support veterans. And then you're going to hear from Dr. Kevin Hendler. He's going to be talking about oral health and dementia. So be thinking about the questions that you may have that you can direct to them today. And again, you can post that in the chat or in the Q&A. All right? Okay, so I think that's all the housekeeping I have. We will close with our healthy aging study. And then Matt Doiron from our cognitive empowerment program will be coming on every week. Since 2021, we've been hosting the Emory BrainTalk Live at 2 p.m. And then immediately after our program at 3 p.m., you can join the Cognitive Empowerment Program. They do things a little bit different. It's still virtual, but we're featuring a lot of things that are neuroprotective in both of these sessions. So they're back to back. They're great opportunities for you to learn and grow. So remember, the session is being recorded, and we will send a PDF of the PowerPoint so that you can reference the material after the program. Okay, all right, with all that said, John is gonna take us away and get our energy going. I'm turning it over to you, John.
Hey, first of all, I would like to welcome everybody to the Alzheimer's Disease Research Center from Emory. Hey, remember, you need a sturdy chair and dumbbells or water bottles. We're gonna body scope first, so let's get going. Press. Elbows up. Good. Okay, underhand. Chest press. Go. Press. Elbows up, and we're gonna fly. Ready? Go. 1, Make sure your back is straight. Don't roll over. Left straight and flat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great job. Elbows in front. Then I'm gonna pull and then extend out. Y'all ready? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come on. 6, 7, 8, 9. Stay with it. And 10. Good. Legs wide. And I'm gonna turn as I turn. We're gonna get the waistline and upper body and hips. Ready? And go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There you go. Arms straight. And I'm gonna go to the back for those ribs. Good back. Y'all ready? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great job. Let's get these biceps. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Triceps. Y'all ready? And let's go. 1, 2. Keep that elbow up. 5. Let's switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last one before we get this cardio in. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Great job. Now we about to get that cardio up. Y'all stay with me. Uh-oh, I'm a little difficulty. Wait one moment. Here we go. Here we go. Come on. Let's create that circulation. Come on. Tap, 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 tap. Let's go. Come on. Up, up. Can you give me a little roll? Oh, 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 oh. Let's do a little bend now. Come on. Come on. Watch now. Now pulling those hamstrings. Come on. Can I get a little upper body? Come on. There we go. Come on. Give me the angle. No upper body. Come on. Hold on to your chair. And we're about to do both legs. Let's go. Here we go. Close, wide, close, wide, close, wide, close, wide, close, wide, close, wide, close. Rest. Come on. Watch this now. Come on. Now, we really engage in that waistline, those hips. Come on. Good. Now add a little upper body to it. Come on. There you go. Watch it. Look at it. Just do what you can now. Let's switch it. There we go. Rest. Okay, before we finish, I have to do these abs. Here we go. Give me these abs. Lean back a little bit. Right leg. Crunch. Switch. Come on. I need you to press the legs. Remember, that's your leg. Let's go. Rest. I'm gonna do something real technical. Right leg straight, point the toe, and I want 5 reps. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Switch legs. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, right leg at an angle. Ready? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Other leg. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Great job. Great job. I'm gonna put a little stretching in, and then we're gonna be finished. Remember, stretching is the most important. Let's go down and up. Down and up. Down and up. We're going right to left. Ready? Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and up. Let me stretch them hips. Push them in. Let release. In. Release. In. Release. In. And release. Let me get a little bit of upper body. Go over. Switch. Over. Switch. Over. Switch. Over. Great. We warm you up. Remember, a healthy heart, a healthy mind, healthy soul. Stay active. And I would love to thank Emory and all of y'all around the world. See you next week. And invite a friend too.
All right. Thank you, John. Did you guys get a full body workout or not? Yes, you did. Isn't that amazing that you could have this experience from the comfort of your home? And every week, this is what we do. So I know some people come on if they're new and they say, am I supposed to be seeing somebody work out? Yes, because we need you active and moving. Exercise is what we refer to as neuroprotective. Okay, so round of applause to John. Raise your hand. Click the raise your hand button if you have been active in working out. If you have been not just what we're doing every week, but you are independently moving, getting your heart going every week. It is so important right now during this time and during all this physical isolation and everything that's going on in the world. We got to keep our minds and our bodies and our spirits up. We got to keep our hope up. All right. So good. Thank you for your responses. Thank you for participating in the poll. Dr. Parker, you want to come on and tell us what we're going to hear, who we're going to hear from today? And then a couple of people always ask, like, in the poll that we do before the program, what's the answer to the poll? There's two questions that we have about forgetfulness and if you put something in the freezer. Can you talk about the difference between
Okay.
and risk?
I think that the message that we should be getting when we forget things, and many of us who are highly functioning adults forget certain things. You know, when my children were small, I went to the grocery store, we were unpacking the car, and I left my son at the grocery store. My daughter just laughed and I said, "Where's your brother?" And she said, "You left him at the store." Now, did I have dementia? No, I was 35 years old. I didn't have dementia at 35. So I think a lot of us who forget things in the spirit of the moment, that's not necessarily pathological. It becomes pathological or problematic when it happens with great regularity and there's a lot of disruption to your life. So losing your keys is not a problem unless you're misplacing them every day and you're having to get several sets of keys made because you keep dropping them and don't know where they are. It becomes problematic if family members note that you are having a problem remembering where things are or who people are. Those, again, are things that in an isolated setting are really not problematic. It's when these things become repetitive and when these things start to disrupt your day-to-day living and disrupt, I hate to say it, but the harmony in your home and things don't work well, that's a time that you need to investigate a little bit further. So forgetting where you put your keys, forgetting where you put your purse because you ran into the house and dropped your purse so that you could grab a phone or take care of something, again, is not necessarily problematic. It's problematic when there becomes a pattern to the behavior, and because this behavior has disrupted or resulted in some kind of adverse event for you, like not remembering that you wrote checks, or repeatedly making withdrawals from your bank account such that you don't have money to pay your bills. You're not remembering to pay your bills, not once, but several months. You know, those are the things that we need to pay attention to when these behaviors become chronic and when they disrupt your overall family function. So for today, we have some very special guests here, because here at the Goizueta Alzheimer's Disease Research Center, our mission, yes, is research into Alzheimer's and related dementias. And we need healthy people to participate in a lot of the research that is going on here. So part of our objective with this educational outreach that we do is to help you be a more informed consumer of healthcare, but more importantly, to teach you more about how you need to take care of yourself. So there are like 12 different things now that we have learned are associated with brain dysfunction or the onset of dementia. They are things that can be fixed. And some of those things that Cornelia alluded to and John does, and that's why we do the exercise, is being physically active, not being overweight, managing chronic diseases, getting good night's sleep. If you are hearing impaired or you notice that you're having a little problem with your hearing, get your hearing checked. You know, maintaining social connections and not being socially isolated. And of course, your diet, we can get into some of those things. But more importantly, there's a lot that we are learning through research that tells us how we can prevent and maintain our cognitive abilities. And being socially engaged, being physically active, taking good care of our health, not just the chronic diseases like the high blood pressure, but things that you might not think of. And people are like, what does hearing impairment have to do with dementia? What does sleep deprivation have to do with dementia? And today, what you're going to learn about is oral health. And why is oral health important to dementia? I want to know about my brain. I want to know about how to prevent dementia. Well, taking care of your teeth, good oral health is very important. And our speaker today, Dr. Kevin Hendler, is a geriatric dentist, many years practiced here at Emory University in the Ina T. Allen Dental Center. Happy to say that he's my mother's dentist and that of several other people that I know. So if you're 65 years of age and older, you know, and you need a really good place to get your oral health care and not be hustled, you need to come see Dr. Hendler. But Dr. Hendler is going to talk to you about geriatric dentistry and how important oral health is to your care. The other person we're going to hear from today, and I'll introduce her right after she'll come on right after Dr. Hendler, is Miss Attorney Carlissa Carson from the Emory School of Law. One of the things that we have to pay attention to in caring for ourselves and the persons who live with dementia is managing, I'll say, legal affairs, which include things like getting durable powers of attorney and wills done, but also securing benefits from places like the VA to help you. I'm going to let her talk about her program because we have a program coming up with her in March. So at this time, I'd really like you to hear from Dr. Kevin Hendler, our dentist. There are his credentials. And then following Dr. Hendler, you will hear from Carlissa Carson. Dr. Hendler.
Okay, thank you for that introduction. And volume's good? You can hear me. Okay, we can move to the next slide, please. So I'm going to be talking about oral health, and it's just going to be a brief overview. But when we talk about oral health, I just want to describe what is oral health, and it's more than just teeth. So this is according to the World Dental Federation, and they say that oral health is multifaceted. It includes the ability to speak, smile, smell, taste, touch, chew, swallow, and convey a range of emotions through facial expressions with confidence, without pain, discomfort, and disease of the craniofacial complex. So that's pretty all-encompassing. Next, please. And why do we care about oral health? Well, Dr. Parker alluded to some of the things, and they're actually here on the slide. So just having a healthy mouth, a nice smile will improve your overall well-being. So it increases your self-esteem. And as she mentioned, it increases social interactions. If you're embarrassed because your teeth don't look good, or it takes you a really long time to eat a meal, you may tend to stay in your room if you're in a long-term care facility, or if you're in a retirement community where eating is a social activity. You may not go out with friends, and you tend to socially isolate yourself. And we know that social isolation can lead to problems such as depression. Also improves general health. And you could just imagine, if you have less pain, less infection, then you're going to feel better. But more importantly now, since we are talking about dementia, is there have been a number of studies that have found an association between gum disease or periodontal disease and Alzheimer's disease. And these are, now this is, as Dr. Parker mentioned, there's other reasons for why you can get Alzheimer's disease, but this is one study where they looked at certain bacteria that cause gum disease or periodontal disease. And when they gave that bacteria orally to mice, they found that the brains of the mice had the same changes that we see in humans who are diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. And that's just a very interesting thing, that they're suggesting there may be a causal association, and also that you may be able to minimize your chance of getting dementia, at least from that standpoint, by just maintaining a healthy mouth. And we'll talk about how to do that. The other thing is that a good mouth improves your nutrition. The mouth is the gateway to our body. So all the food goes in the mouth. And as you can imagine, your teeth, your dentition is going to influence your food selection. And what you eat matters. You can't just eat ice cream all the time, even though that may be good. So if you don't have good teeth, if it hurts to chew, if you don't have enough teeth to chew on, then you may tend to start choosing softer foods because they're easier to chew. Well, the problem with that is that softer foods tend to be higher in carbohydrates and lower in protein. So now you're impacting your nutritional status, and it's because of your teeth. Next, please. So, we talked about oral diseases. What is oral diseases? Well, there's a lot of them, but the most common ones are cavities and gum disease. So what are cavities? Well, cavities are the holes you get in your teeth, and what causes that is the bacteria in your mouth eats the sugar that you eat. It secretes acid, and the acid dissolves the teeth, and you get a cavity. Gum disease is the bigger one. There's estimates that almost 70% of adults over 65 have some form of gum disease. And so this is really out there. And what that is again, there's bacteria in your mouth from the plaque because you don't clean your teeth well enough, and the plaque accumulates, and the bacteria irritates the gum, and the gum gets swollen. And if you look in a mouth, there's a space between the tooth and the gum. So when you look in somebody's mouth and you just see where the gum meets the tooth, there's actually a little space between the tooth and the gum there. Well, you can imagine if the gum swells, so if the gum is getting bigger, then that space is getting deeper. And now when we tell you to brush your teeth, we say angle your toothbrush down because it gets into that space if it's small. Well, if the space is too big, the toothbrush won't get in, and then the bacteria can continue to grow. And as the disease progresses, as periodontal disease progresses, you start to lose the bone that supports the teeth. And eventually the teeth get loose. And ultimately the teeth can actually fall out. And that's what periodontal disease is. And the good news is that we can prevent periodontal disease. And let me back up one thing. The periodontal disease is what they're studying and finding these associations with dementia, with Alzheimer's disease, in addition to a host of all other systemic diseases like cardiovascular disease and respiratory disease and diabetes and frailty and depression. But it's caused by the bacteria, so you can prevent this. And basically what that involves is just cleaning your teeth every day. You just want to get the plaque off your teeth, and you can prevent the gum disease. Next, please. So I told you that's what you need to do. Now, how do we do this? And how do we do this for people with dementia? Well, for everybody, you want to brush at least twice a day, and you want to brush for 2 minutes every time, so you know you're getting all the surfaces. You want to use a toothpaste that contains fluoride. Fluoride is not just for kids. There's great studies that it does prevent decay in adults. And you need to clean between your teeth. Now, flossing is difficult, especially if you have any kind of dexterity issues. And also, if you're trying to floss somebody else's teeth, it's really difficult. And there are a lot of products on the market. There's little interdental brushes. There's little special kind of toothpicks that can go between your teeth that are much easier to use. You can get all that at the drugstore, and it's a lot easier to do it on yourself sometimes, and certainly to do it on somebody else. If you wear dentures or if you have partial dentures, you want to take those out every single night. You want to clean them, and they should soak in water overnight. You should leave them out just so that your mouth has a chance to air out. When you're taking care of an individual who has dementia, you want to allow them to do as much as they can for as long as they're able to do it. You just want to give them as much independence as you can. But with dementia, it is a progressive disease, and there's going to come a time where you're going to have to intervene. So when it comes time for you to do it for someone, the best thing is either stand on the side of the person or stand in front so you're not sneaking up on them. Speak to them, and you want to just tell them exactly what you're doing. The other thing is you want to go slow. You don't want to go charging into somebody's mouth because it will startle them and you may lose your opportunity. And I can tell you from experience, just when I'm treating patients, I find that talking to my patients really makes a difference. And if that doesn't work, then singing. And you do not have to have a good voice. I can attest to that. But sometimes just the distraction allows you to get in there and do the cleaning. And singing, we know sometimes it may really brighten up the person who you're taking care of. The last is that you got to do the best you can. Sometimes you're not going to get things done, but don't give up. If you have a bad day, tomorrow's another day. Maybe later in the day is better, but just keep at it. It's very important to take care of this. Next, please. So just one more thing. We just submitted some funding for a study that some of you may be interested in. And what we want to look at is we can teach people how to brush their teeth, how to brush somebody else's teeth. But we want to know if we teach people why oral health is important and why it's important to brush someone else's teeth, will that improve the oral hygiene provided by the caregiver? So our plan, if the study is approved, is to develop an education program using an advisory group of caregivers. So these are people that take care of individuals with dementia, that have the problems, that can tell us all the concerns, all the problems they're having, so that we can address those in the education program. And then we'd like to test the training program. And last slide, please, I think. Yes. So I will leave everybody with one of my favorite quotes. We don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. So I encourage everybody to keep playing. And if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Just one, Dr. Hendler, from Dr. Parker. Would you give Crystal information about how to get in touch with you or your coordinator to participate in the program you just discussed?
Yes, we can do that. The study is we just submitted it, so it hasn't been approved yet. But once it is, we will definitely be reaching out to you and the Memory Impairment Clinic also for people that are interested in participating.
Okay. Questions, anybody? I see a couple of questions in the chat about periodontal disease. And Dr. Hendler, can you kind of tell people what the connection is between periodontal disease and dementing disorders from an infection standpoint, why that's important?
So there's a couple of one, the study recently is basically, it is from an infection standpoint. So they found that a specific bacteria that causes periodontal disease called Porphyromonas gingivalis, you could remember that name, it's a good one, gets into the brain and I'm just on a simple level, it causes these changes. The other thing that can occur is there are other bacteria that will cause brain inflammation. And there's a whole, just bacteria in general for different reasons can cause inflammation. And they're finding that the inflammation can also lead to forgetfulness and dementia too. So if you don't have the bacteria in your mouth, then it's not going to cause the problems. And that's a similar association with other systemic diseases also.
So one of the things that people are talking about is how can you counteract periodontal disease? So when we have small children, we say you need to see your dentist at least twice a year. Can you tell them how often they need to see you and how they can improve upon their own existing periodontal disease?
Yes, absolutely. So as I mentioned before, there's no quick and easy rinse or a pill you can take to treat periodontal disease. You basically have to get the plaque off the teeth. It's mechanical removal, and that's what's going to cure it and keep it under control. It is important to see your dentist, because if the plaque sticks around long enough, then it hardens, it becomes tartar, and you're not going to be able to remove the tartar with a brush. And as far as how often you should go to the dentist, that's really an individual based on what your risk factors are. As a general rule, we tend to see older adults, and especially individuals with dementias where it's more difficult for somebody to clean their mouth and they're not able to do it, is to see them usually every 3 months or sometimes every 4 months, but usually more often than just twice a year.
Okay, there's some questions in the Q&A, but just because we're going to talk about them, and we just talked about periodontal disease and how important it is to have a regularly scheduled dental appointment for cleaning, etc. Can you talk a little about the difference between oral health care for someone with dementia versus someone who's not necessarily demented? The question is, how do we, when do you go to how do you find a dentist to treat somebody with dementia is the question.
A lot of that, and a lot of people can just maintain, go to their regular dentist. I think it's important to establish a relationship, especially if you're, diagnosed, or somebody who's diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease or dementia, and they haven't had regular dental care in the past. It's important to establish a relationship just so they have some familiarity with the dentist. Dentists should be able to treat. I think the concern runs into if the disease progresses to the point where the person is no longer cooperative, it's hard to get in the chair and things take longer. That's when general dentists may start to get frustrated. And usually they will let you know that, hey, your mom, dad, whoever you're bringing in, your spouse, is getting too difficult for us to take care of. And then it's a question of finding somebody who specializes it, who likes doing it. But pretty much it's just a matter of being able to spend a little bit more time and being a little more patient. And I think it's not past any general dentist to be able to treat individuals with dementia.
Thank you. There's some little chats in there that I think you are better prepared to answer than I am. I think if nobody has any additional questions, Dr. Hendler will try to answer those dental questions that are in the chat. And thank you, Dr. Hendler. At this time, I'd like to let Miss Carlissa Carson come on. She's from Emory School of Law. She's a professor at Emory School of Law, and she's going to tell you about her special area of interest.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Parker. It's such a pleasure to be speaking today about the services that we provide to veterans. And so I manage the volunteer clinic for veterans, and I'm also teaching counterterrorism right now for the law school. And I joined the clinic about a year ago. However, the clinic has existed for about 10 years, and we're growing, which is great because the more people we have, the more veterans we can serve. And basically, we provide free legal assistance to low-income veterans located all throughout Georgia. And on this next slide, you'll see our team members. So here we all are. We currently have 4 attorneys, and we have a paraprofessional, Roxana, who is actually on the call with us today. And Dean Rita Sheffy, of course, provides administrative oversight for us. But this is us. This is our clinic. And on the next slide, I will talk about the specific issues that we help with. So these are the issues that are within our scope. So one issue we help with is VA disability benefits. And this is really a bit of an umbrella term because so many issues fall under disability benefits. So if you're looking to appeal a denial, for instance, so you sent a claim off to VA and the VA denied you, you have 1 year to file an appeal. So if you are within that 1 year period, we can certainly try to help you file the appeal and hopefully get a better decision from the VA the next time around. Sometimes people are outside of this 1 year period in which to file an appeal. And That's fine. You just need supplemental materials. So a lot of times this would be, new medical records, or perhaps, a letter from a physician about your old claim. So if you fall into this category, we could potentially help you with filing a supplemental claim. And then, of course, we also do rating increases. So let's say that you applied to the VA to get your PTSD benefits, and they gave you a rating of 50%. Well, it could be that that was appropriate at the time. However, you perhaps feel like the condition has worsened. And if that's the case, we can certainly help you get an increase in your rating. And for those that are unfamiliar with the process, when you apply for the VA and you ask to have a certain medical condition connected to your time in service, the VA will assign you a rating. And the higher the rating, the more money you get. So for instance, if you're 100%, if your rating's a 100%, that's usually about $3,000 every single month, and this is tax-free money. And sometimes the VA will assign a rating that is not necessarily appropriate. So we can certainly help you get a rating increase if that happens to be an issue. And sometimes the VA will reduce a rating. So sometimes the VA will decide that your condition has improved, and they might take a 100% rating and lower it to a 50% rating. And of course, that lowers the monthly benefit amount. If you're in that situation, we could certainly try to help you there as well with contesting the VA's reduction of your disability rating. Another thing we do is discharge upgrades. So in order to get disability benefits from the VA, you generally need to have an honorable discharge or a general under honorable conditions discharge. And we've seen a lot of situations where someone received perhaps an under other than honorable conditions discharge. And we need to upgrade that so that they can take, advantage of benefits from the VA. And we've seen a lot of situations where someone got, let's say, an under other than honorable conditions discharge simply because, they had perhaps post-traumatic stress, which wasn't recognized, in the 60s the way it is today. So perhaps they received an under other than honorable conditions discharge for, let's say, unsatisfactory participation. However, they were really, grappling with post-traumatic stress. And so in a situation like that, sometimes we can help upgrade the discharge. And of course, there have certainly been situations where people received less than honorable discharge for, very inappropriate reasons, like discrimination, for instance, be it race discrimination or sex discrimination. So a lot of benefits, flow from getting your discharge upgraded. It's not just kind of a foot in the door of VA disability benefits. It also matters if you're looking to, for instance, get a VA home loan. I purchased my home about 10 years ago, and I got a VA home loan. And it's a useful benefit, but they generally want to see that you have an honorable discharge. It also matters if you, for instance, want to be buried in a military cemetery. So there are a lot of reasons why you might want to get a discharge upgraded. And then another area we help with is actually basic estate planning. So we will help you prepare a will. We can help you with a power of attorney. We can also help with advanced directives for healthcare. So of course, a power of attorney is essentially a document that allows someone to act on your behalf. So you can create a power of attorney, for instance, that will give someone the power to sell real estate in your name, or perhaps open a bank account in your name, or manage a business in your name. And then of course, with the will, that really puts you in the driver's seat when it comes to determining who gets your property, or perhaps, there's a charitable entity you want to give your property to. And then with the advanced directives for healthcare, this allows you to make your medical preferences known. So if you're ever in a situation where you are incompetent and cannot appropriately communicate your healthcare decisions, you would need an advanced directive for healthcare. So if you have a need for any of these, documents, that's certainly something we can help you with. Now, some areas are outside our clinic scope, but we certainly have connections with entities in and around Atlanta and even, greater Georgia. So Atlanta Legal Aid Society has a veterans section dedicated to helping veterans with issues like landlord-tenant disputes, child custody disputes, divorce proceedings, or perhaps you're experiencing, you're going through a foreclosure. Those are types of things that Atlanta Legal Aid Society could assist with. And then of course, we also have Georgia Legal Services Provider here in Atlanta, and they help those that were, previously enlisted with things like Social Security benefits, Medicare, Medicaid. So if your issue doesn't fall into one of the three categories I mentioned, feel free to go ahead and give us a call or shoot us an email, because most likely we can point you in the right direction of a different entity that also provides free legal services. And on the next slide here, you see the clinics we actually have coming up. We host several clinics throughout the year. So we have a discharge upgrade clinic coming up on February 17th from 4 to 6. And this one is specifically for veterans living in and around Macon, Georgia. And again, if you are looking for a discharge upgrade, send us an email. I have contact information on the next slide, don't worry. But that clinic is for discharge upgrades. And we have a Military Monday coming up on February 22nd from 3:30 to 6. And this is for veterans living throughout Georgia. And we will help out with disability benefits and/or discharge upgrades. And we have a clinic specifically for basic estate planning on March 1 from 10 a.m. to 1. And this is for the wills, the POAs, the advanced directives for healthcare. And of course, Dr. Parker mentioned earlier that we are co-hosting a clinic on March 11 from 2 to 4. And this is also for veterans living throughout Georgia. And we'll be helping again with disability benefits, discharge upgrades, and/or estate planning. And all of these clinics, by the way, are going to be held via Zoom. We want to make sure everyone is staying safe during the pandemic we're all in. So what you would need to do is contact Roxana Poosh, and her information is actually on the next slide. And just let her know that you would like to participate in one of these clinics. And she'll give you all the information you need to call in on your computer or cell phone. And if you're not that familiar with Zoom, don't worry, because we also provide you with a phone number you can call. We know not everyone has, high-speed internet at home, and not everyone knows the ins and outs of Zoom. So don't let that, keep you from joining the clinic, because Roxana will definitely send you a phone number where you can call in. And we are located inside the Emory University School of Law. We're all working from home these days, but I went ahead and included this because sometimes people mail us documents or need to, meet us on campus to give us documents. And of course, I've also included our phone number there, which is 404-727-1044. So if you have any questions about today's presentation, or you think you have an issue we can help with, be sure to give us a call. And the office is accessible by wheelchair. Again, we're working from home these days, but at some point, hopefully in the near future, we can all safely return to campus. And also included our website URL in case anyone wants to visit the website.
Okay, Carlissa, a couple of questions that are in the chat, and I'll let you get to some of them that are a little bit more specific to what you do. But the question was, what's the definition of low income? And can I come even if I'm may not be so-called low income. So some of us understand what that means, and some of us, well, I won't say we don't know what it means. We just need to get a better definition of what you mean by low income.
Sure. So what we mean by low income is persons that are not making any more than 200% above the federal poverty line.
Which
So
is?
it actually is different based on your family size. So the federal government publishes the poverty guidelines every single year. So the amount tends to change a little. And you can access this by Google, but let's say you have a family of four, 2 parents and 2 children. It's usually going to be around $52,000 a year. But again, that amount's going to change based on whether you're a single veteran or maybe you have a family of 6. But just call us and we can help you out with that. If you are not considered a low income veteran, we do know attorneys that are VA accredited that, charge for their services. But can nonetheless, provide some assistance. We do focus on low income veterans because, of course, our services are free of charge and we don't take any attorney fees or anything like that. And so, we want to help those that are in, the most need for our services. We're growing, but we're still smaller. So we can't help everyone, unfortunately. So that's why we have the low income standard.
One last question about people who may be widows or widowers and whose spouse was in the military. There, as a clinician, I'm aware of something called aid and attendance benefits. Can you give us a little better definition of that? Because I think that people think that if their loved one has died and that was the veteran, that they're not eligible for those funds.
So there are actually a couple of things. There is the aid and attendance that you mentioned, Dr. Parker, and there's also what's called DIC. So this is indemnity contributions. And so let's say you were married to a veteran and the veteran was service connected for a medical condition that they passed from. You could actually potentially be entitled to a monthly benefit based on the fact that your veteran spouse passed from a service-connected disability. And this kind of runs the gambit. You can be service-connected for all kinds of things. And then, of course, there's also the aid and attendance. So if you were married to a veteran that was receiving disability benefits, there is an aid and attendance that you might be eligible for, and that's also a monthly benefit. Just, give us a call and we can certainly talk through your specific situation if you fall into this category. But certainly if you are the spouse of a veteran, there are benefits that you might not be, taking advantage of. And there are even some conditions that are becoming service connected that weren't perhaps service connected. So maybe those on the call would be interested in this. So actually investigators at the University of California recently found that veterans who had been exposed to Agent Orange had nearly a 2-fold increase risk of developing dementia compared to veterans that were not exposed to Agent Orange. So you might have served in the Vietnam War, in which case it's presumed that you were exposed to Agent Orange, or your spouse might have served in Vietnam, or perhaps a veteran was exposed to burn pits at K2 if they served more recently. But we are, excited about this, body of scientific and medical research where they are continuing to find connections between one's service and conditions like, even dementia. So if you think something might be related to your time in service or your spouse's time in service, make sure you give us a call or send us an email, because we'd be more than happy to talk to you about it. There are a lot of benefits that people leave on the table. There are veterans even that aren't aware of VA disability benefits, for instance. And like I said, sometimes you can get as much as $3,000 a month, and this is tax-free. So certainly, give us a call. Make sure you're taking advantage of all the benefits out there, because you certainly earn them through your time in service.
At this time, I think we'll turn things over to Matt, and please answer the questions in the chat. There is some information there. Thank you very much, Ms. Carson, for coming on and helping educate us about VA benefits for those who have honorably and dishonorably discharged.
Yes.
Thank
you
you.
for having me.
And so we're going to talk, Whit's going to come on then, Matt. And in the meantime, Matt, you can the link for the cognitive empowerment program.
Sounds great. Thanks, everybody. Let's see if I can share my screen here. So each week I come on usually to talk about the Emory Healthy Aging Study. For those that this is their first time, my name is Whit. I am the communications specialist for the Emory Healthy Aging Study and the Emory Healthy Brain Studies. And what I generally like to do is kind of walk people through how to actually join the study. But before I get too far into that, for those that are joining us for the first time, kind of a quick high-level overview. The Emory Healthy Aging Study is an online longitudinal research study that we are doing. And the cool thing about this is, like I said, it is online. So for those that are staying home and don't necessarily want to come in or worried about having to go through, test procedures and things like that, this is a super easy way to get involved in research, because all we are asking our participants to do is to complete an online health history questionnaire once a year. And so I kind of use the spiel of, if you have 30 minutes of free time at any point during a year, you can actually be a study participant with the Emory Healthy Aging Study. And while this study is open to anybody over the age of 18 who has internet access, can read and understand English, and lives in the United States, we want you to join. Because what we're really trying to do here is, as we're asking you these questions on our health history questionnaire, we're going through things like your demographics, but we also want to learn more about like your lifestyle. We talk a lot about exercise every week here on this webinar. We want to know how much exercise you're getting. We want to know, are you eating your fruits and vegetables? Are you eating that heart healthy diet? These are all things that we're asking you about. And as we've been going through these webinars each week and getting more and more people joining us, I'm really excited to see that more people from around the United States are actually joining in and joining our study. And so before I walk you through on how to join the study, I have this really cool graphic from one of our older annual reports here that show some of our registrants by the location. And while we really have most of our participants coming from the Metro Atlanta area, there's a really cool graphic on here, and hopefully you'll be able to see it if I zoom in a little bit more, where we showed the top 5 furthest locations. So big shout out to Hawaii and our representatives in Hawaii, coming in from almost 4,500 miles away. Like I said, this is open to anybody in the United States here, including Hawaii, including Alaska, even if you're in Puerto Rico, you feel free to join in there. We want your information because we really want to try and better understand how we age and what causes certain age-related diseases. And as we're building this database of information, it makes it a lot easier for researchers to, learn different aspects about these parts of our lives here. And so what I generally like to do is, wow, that's really zoomed in. I'm gonna zoom back out a little bit and show you here, because everything starts on our website, thehealthyaging.emory.edu. And what I'm also gonna do is I'll drop this link into the chat, as well as my email address, because sometimes if you have questions or maybe you forget how to get to the site, I want you to be able to email me directly with any questions or concerns that you might have. But when you visit our website here, we try to hide this button up here in the corner, the big yellow one that says join the study. And when you click on this button, we've broken the registration process down into 4 steps. So step 1 would be literally you create your registration account. We have our online portal that is secure. We are cognizant of making sure that we protect people's data. So whenever you join our study, you're actually creating an account with us that allows you to log in. We'll go through an online consent. And that's basically, it gives you the breakdown of your rights and privacies as a study participant. We collect a little bit of contact information in case we need to reach out to you. And then finally, the last step on here is that health history questionnaire. And as I mentioned earlier, it takes about 25 to 30 minutes for most people to complete it. You can do this on a smartphone. You could do it on a tablet. You can do it on your computer. We have worked hard to make sure that the survey works on all these different devices to try and make sure that, if you want to be a study participant from your sofa, you can do it. And once you've gone through this process here and you've completed that health history questionnaire, that's really all that it entails. Occasionally, what we might do is if we partner with other researchers and let's say they have a survey or something that they would want you to complete, or they're trying to reach out and really build their study base also, we might send you an additional survey. In the past, we've done this, and generally they wouldn't take more than about 4 minutes to do. But I'm going to drop my email here in the chat as well. So that way, if you've got questions or you have maybe concerns, or if you're just not sure, hey, is this right for me? I want you to email me. I want you to talk. And we really pride ourselves on being very transparent about our research efforts here. And I think this is a really great way to get involved with research if you're unsure about really taking that plunge.
Thank you, Whit. He's going to
Thank
drop
you.
all of his contact information in the chat. Matt, tell us what we can expect for CEP today at 3.
Hey guys, this is Matt Doiron. We are here in the CEP program. We're going to be doing something a little bit different today. We're going to do a follow-up workout with Tina. She is our Tai Chi instructor, and we're going to be doing another one of those today. We had some technical issues last week, and we're going to get a uninterrupted session today. So if anyone would like to do another workout, get the blood flowing a little bit, please take a look in the chat, and you'll be able to see our registration link. Come over, and in a few minutes, we're about to start that. So please join us.
Excellent. Okay, so look at everything we covered in an hour. And I hope you learned a lot. I hope you took a lot of notes. And I'm going to give you a few minutes to grab the information from the chat. We dropped a lot of links, a lot of URLs for you to go back and reference. So now's the time to try to copy and paste them if you're on your device. We'll also send out the links via email when we send out the recording of today's session. Okay, so if you have any questions, we have about 2 minutes. Thank you all. Thank you, Miss Sally. We appreciate you. And thank you. I think we had like 215 people on today. Every week, remember, we are here from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Next week, you're going to hear from our colleagues from the VA. Earlier in January, we featured some junior investigators from the acronym is CVNR, and that is our rehab shop with the VA. And so they are going to be profiling 3 of their junior research scientists, and they will be talking about some research projects that are coming online in partnership with the VA and Emory. So we'll be featuring them next week as well. So again, if you've had time to capture all of those links, make sure you get the CEP link and the Healthy Aging. You can join Healthy Aging from anywhere in the country. So thank you again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you back here on next Tuesday, the 23rd.
I just wanted to say this. My husband and I have enrolled in a VA study. It's on exercise, so, and I'm not demented, so you don't have to be a veteran, but the studies you're going to hear about next week give you an opportunity to improve your health through different kinds of exercise. Again, here at the Research Center, dementia study is all about how we can prevent things, not just a treatment. So anything we can do to stay healthy keeps your brain healthy. Thank you so much for joining. Cornelia?
Thank you, Dr. Parker. All right, head on over to CEP and look out for the link to the recording for this week's program, as well as you can subscribe to the YouTube channel to see all of the recordings since March 31st of 2020. They're all there. See you all next week.